Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, dear friends, it's no intention of mine to keep you long from the well-deserved refreshment after such a long session, nor it's my ambition to try to sum up everything that has been discussed here. We also had our own consultations with some of the invitees. But on behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which has been supporting this conference over the past 3 years, I'd like to express our gratitude and satisfaction. The Prague European Summit is finding its place on the mental map of important conferences across Europe, in our region for sure, and Prague, not least because of its geographical position in the heart of Europe. It's a natural location where issues of pan-continental importance should be discussed among politicians, diplomats, civil servants, civil society representatives, media, and businesses. It is sending an important message to our citizens that it is not only Brussels that matters, but that important talks and deliberations can be held also in the capitals. We are not yet Davos or Munich, we are not yet even Globsec, but even these were not built overnight. I would like to wish the organizers a lot of resolve and endurance in the future editions of this forum, as the challenges ahead of us are enormous, and I am sure that we will have a lot to discuss in the years, perhaps decades to come. We know too well that this forum cannot provide an alternative to decisions made by the European Union institutions, national governments or international bodies in tackling all the issues at stake, but it definitely provides a useful ground for exchange of thoughts and opinions among various stakeholders. And as such, it can provide useful input into the official decisions, into processes, and also for inspiration of decision makers. Our government has embraced the idea of citizens' consultations proposed by President Macron, and we view the Prague European Summit contributing to these ends. Holding a debate on a range of issues pertinent to Europe's future is particularly important in these challenging times, when cohesion of the Union and trust among its member states seems to be under greater strain than ever before. New or old new dividing lines are re-emerging between the North and South, the West and the East, big and small, net payers and net contributors, those in favor of deeper and faster integration, and those who want to advance more slowly. I am convinced that the Prague Summit serves as a useful tool helping us to overcome these tectonic fault lines and help us understand what is that unites us rather than divides us. Thus, I am glad that the organizers have decided to touch upon topics such as future financing of the Union's policies, our ambitions in security and defense, the European Parliament elections and their role in selecting Europe's executives, or ways of communicating Union's policies to our citizens. No doubt that Europe is under great external pressure. So far, we have not managed to transform our neighborhood into a prosperous ring of friends, stretching from St. Petersburg to Marrakesh. This is what we imagined when we conceived the European neighborhood policy back in 2003. Today, our neighborhood is in a disarray, swollen by instability, violent conflicts, and state failures, where gross violation of international law as well as human rights standards are a common occurrence. But without an active engagement in the transformation of our own courtyard. We cannot aspire at becoming a global player. For us, as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it is crucial that issues such as the EU enlargement, European neighborhood policy, or the financing of the EU external actions were also discussed here. The EU's global aspirations might suffer greatly by withdrawal of one of our heavyweight member states, the United Kingdom. It is in the interest of this country, but I dare to say the whole of the EU, to find an arrangement that would help us to have British hard as well as soft power pulling together with the rest of us once they withdraw from the Union. And speaking of muscles, I am glad that the Prague European Summit touches also on the issue of the future of transatlantic alliance. For Atlanticist EU member states as the Czech Republic, it is of paramount importance to overcome the rifts that seem to be pulling both sides of the Atlantic, but also the Europeans themselves further apart, as we have something similar what we have seen back in 2003. The Euro-Atlantic area should remain the anchor of security and prosperity in an increasingly complex and competitive world. And having said that, I would like to convey my enormous thanks both to both organizers, the Institute of International Relations and Europeum Institute for European Policy, for having done such a tremendous job, and I wish them all the success in their future endeavors. And to all of you who participated in thought-provoking discussions and deliberations, I'd like to thank for joining us here in Prague, and hopefully not the last time. And now I'd like to invite you for a glass of wine and some refreshment, which was prepared by organizers, and it is located outside this building, and will certainly show you the right way how to get there. Thank you very much.
Almost there. We are almost there. I'll be very brief in my remarks, but you will see there's a good reason I'm still standing there, so please bear with me for just a few minutes. Now, as Jean-Claude Juncker said, the wind is back in Europe's sails, but there are uncharted territories ahead and perhaps no clear sense of direction for the European ship. Over the last 6 decades, European institutions were built, a truly historical achievement in the century of 2 world wars, global rebellion, as Eric Hobsbawm would have it, an economic crisis of unprecedented proportion. Now, these institutions are in need of care. They need to adapt and be infused with legitimacy by means of making them more efficient, but also true articulations that grow out of society and to which people can relate. The EU continues, I believe, to have transformative potential in caring for those less fortunate around the world, caring for the environment, both home and abroad. But we must not be locked in the present. This means we cannot take anything for granted. We can't be seduced by the sense that we are out of the woods after times of difficulty, back into the timelessness to the end of history. It also means, however, that nothing has to be the way it is, and there is definite potential for positive change as well. And therefore, it's of utmost importance to engage in a real dialogue about where to steer the European ship. And I'm very proud that the Institute of International Relations takes part in organizing Prague European Summit, that over the past 4 years has established itself as a paramount event for such dialogue. A dialogue that is directed toward authentic understanding, not through a monologue. Not being about talking over each other, nor debating with the aim of winning over the other. Though I also have to say I am pleased that we have not been avoiding fair exchange of views over the past few days. These few days have testified to Prague European Summit having become a true agora, a true forum for meeting and exchanging sometimes competing visions and ideas about Europe. And it's my great wish that we continue and further cultivate this initiative. There has been a fair amount of creative expansion as the Prague European Summit has evolved, introducing new formats, new ways of engagement and interaction. I consider the Prague European Summit to be the Institute of International Relations flagship event and the most successful cooperation that we have with Europeum, our co-organizer, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as our main strategic partner. I do hope the interest on their part will not wane. On ours, I can promise that it shall not. We have been discussing a number of burning issues here over the past few days, and I will not go into making a summary, but let me just pick a few. We talked about exclusionary populism, conditions that give rise to populist influence, the influence of those who claim to be on the side of the people, whether they truly are or not. We've talked a lot about transatlantic relationship, and here I should recognize the presence of Assistant Secretary of State, Mr. Wes Mitchell, who delivered his address on the state of US, European, and perhaps more so Central European relations, cautioning against protectionism and reaffirming the US commitment to European security, while also noting that European allies need to carry their fair share of responsibility and defense. And this issue came back several times, particularly when the future of deepened defense cooperation was being discussed in successive panels, as was the need for true strategic autonomy and taking more responsibility in developing capacities that may be used both for common defense and projecting stability abroad. We talked about the fast-paced technological evolution and its impact on the future of European labor and social life, noting that there are a great many opportunities related to these developments, but also risks, and hence there may be a need to regulate to ensure that these risks are mitigated. We discussed various facets of the proposed multi-annual financial framework as much as the future of the cohesion policy. Participants in the debate expressed hope for a more simple, transparent, and efficient program. There are a great many other topics that were discussed, European neighborhood policy being one of them, many others as well, and I will not go over all of them. Let me say that this event would not be possible without great many people. It would not be possible without our partners, not just Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the main strategic partner, but many others. It would not be possible without our sponsors. It would not be possible without the great organizational team of the Prague European Summit, who've been working around the clock for past many months to make all this possible, and making sure that everything went smoothly, and they've done an outstanding job. I would like to particularly recognize one person here, and that is Ms. Nelly Tomčíková, who's been with the European Summit ever since it started 4 years ago, and who've put a lot of effort and inspiration on her part, contributing greatly to making all this possible. Now, Nelly is moving on, but it's my great pleasure now to deliver at least some symbol of our recognition and thanks. Here it is. So Nelly, if you can please come forward. You'll be able to hear me nonetheless. This is a smaller maquette of the Prague Vision board, and it's truly deserved as Nelly has inscribed her vision on the Prague European Summit, as I said, being here from the stretch, and we are truly grateful. Thank you very much. And with that, allow me to invite you all to the long-promised glass of wine. What an end to a proper symposium. Thank you very much.